Hello friends, so here we are once again with the NPTEL online certification course on employment communication, a lab based course. Today we present to you lecture 34. This is the third of the lab sessions or the practice sessions on the important topic of personal interviews. This is part of module 7 and let us move forward. Once again I reiterate that in the important topic on personal interviews, this is the third practice session. Remember also that this is a mock session. So, on this third interview panel, we have the interviewers as Alolika Roy, Orithro Lahiri and Pooja Katwani. On the candidates, we have the first candidate being interviewed today is Paulami Shaha and the second candidate is Muhammad Hashim Ali.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Okay, so hi Paulami.
Hi.
The first question that we would like to ask is, why do you think you are eligible for this post of fund officer?
Fund officer, as I assume, fund officer is the role in a company that would relieve the employees of their stress that they go throughout the because of the harsh working hours and the workload that they have. That would involve various activities that need to be conducted, like extracurriculars and taking into account the passion that the employees have. So have my fair share of experience in organizing various such events in school and college, and hence I think I would be appropriate to take in the position of the chief fund officer to enlighten the mood of the employees of the organization through various activities.
Okay, so you said you have done this before, right, in your college. So have you ever faced a situation wherein you have organized an event but you have failed terribly, where we have not got any engagement of people, or and if it has been there, then how have you managed with that?
Okay, yeah. So definitely, I can recall one incident where there was we were supposed to organize one event that was supposed to be part of the inter college events, but that ended up being an intra college event because of the lesser number of participation from the other colleges. We were supposed, we later understood that we had to go into the colleges and garner more participation from them, and that required more PR activities from our side. That was the first attempt. So we could not make up. We could not match up to the number of members or the participants that was required to for the event to be successful, or the inter-college affair. So that was the first time when it actually just stayed interdepartmental. But the next year we put in more effort. We actually went in the other colleges and we put in the pitches for the event, and even through online, social media platforms, we spread the news and motivated the other colleges to participate. So the next year was still had more participation than the last year. And it's continuing.
This is more of a role of a PR. How in an organization do you think you can contribute as a fund officer?
Okay. This taking into account the amount of expertise that I need to have to organize such events. Well, in the part of the fund officer, in context of the fund officer, he would need to have the person would need to have relevant experience in in organizations that already have such positions of the chief fund officer. One being Capgemini.
How do you think you can contribute as a fund officer in the organization?
In various organizations that already do have this position in place, they often arrange they settle for a day. That is possibly Monday, because Mondays are the days where the employees are demotivated to go to work, since it's the beginning of the work week. So Mondays, to make the Mondays the fun days, they often host events like, I have seen in case of one of my friends, like they go to office and at a certain point they break, they take a break, and everybody gather in a certain area, and they have performances, whichever be their passion, they have performances, and accordingly they perform. So that you know, that has a that can align with what I used to do or was involved in like my prior experiences. So I would say that would help to some extent.
So Paulami, you were saying that dancing, singing. So like in this digital era, it's like very few people are having those passions, and like we are all old peoples in the office, so we don't really want to go to cafeteria and dance. So we feel like it's a hectic part that people are pushing us to dance. So how will you engage the people like us?
First of all, you don't necessarily need to dance to be a part of the event and enjoy it or be free of any kinds of stress that you have. Even watching somebody dance or live their passion, just perform something straight from their heart, that can also enlighten your mood and free you from the stress that you have been going throughout the week. So aged people, I mean the people who are like elderly in the organizations, could actually motivate the younger generation to take part in such activities if they themselves do not feel they want to necessarily perform. But I think even if they could perform and motivate the youth better, because if they could, then the younger generation possibly would even more contribute to the performances.
But how do you think you can promote fun into those people who are elderly and they are not willing to take part in such a kind of events? What all events do you plan for them?
For the elderly, I would say even board games, a section or a time in a day, a particular time in a day where they wouldn't have to necessarily get up and run around or perform any kinds of activities. They could just participate in board games. I think everybody would enjoy a fair share of board games at one point of time in their hectic weekdays. So I think there could be rounds of games. We could ask for the interest they have, the interest areas they have in the games, and we could conduct board games.
And so what about bringing all the cultures together to a particular fun elements? Like we have very diverse workforce, so how you are planning to do that?
Culture, I think different so that would be even we could use this fun event or the fun office as an integrating force in actually bringing all the cultures together. So different cultures have different ways of celebrating their cultural fiesta. So they would come together, and every culture would bring in their own spice. So I think the other cultures would probably associate more with them and get to understand and know more about the other cultures, and that would bring about a proper conglomeration of different cultures, and that could help increase cultural diversity and acceptance.
Okay, so tell us about a situation wherein you are not given enough of budget, but then you have to organize an event which actually motivates people to engage more in the activities. Then what would you do in such a scenario?
Budget, I think organizing some basic events simple performances at the end of the day or at certain hours would not require as much budget. But when it comes to proper competitions to be held monthly or bi-yearly, so then we would require proper rewards and recognitions for those to be to garner participation in the next upcoming events. So I think then if you actually are on budget constraint, we could we could begin by not sending everybody empty handed. We could give something, if not something grand, we could give them something as a memento for participation and winning in that event. And other than that, what we could do is we could arrange for even monthly appreciation sessions as a part of being actually other than the fun part, they would be motivated for the work they actually do. So maybe that could be kept as rewards for what they like the fun activities if we are under budget constraints.
Okay, Pallavi, so how do you pursue your career as a fun officer going forward?
I think this could knowing that this is not such a huge trend. That has been there since long, and it's just started. I think there could be a budding career. There could be more such job roles relating to fun officer, and I would obviously seek out every opportunities that I have to make sure that I'm doing the work right that I'm given, and I would like to contribute to the organization and the employees, and this is like making them happy. So that would be my primary agenda, and I would like to seek further positions like promotions in this position. I mean, in this fun officer position, and move forward and see what happens accordingly in the future.
Okay, one last question is, see, this is very new concept. We are trying to promote in our organization, so you may have to travel a lot. We need to promote it in various places. So how are you willing to do that? Traveling a lot?
Yeah, traveling. If I get to travel many places, yes, I think that I would like to do that. Travel places.
Not only traveling places, traveling to offices,
Traveling
development
to
centers.
Definitely for short periods of time. Yes, definitely.
Okay, fine, Pallavi. It was nice
That's
interviewing
nice.
you. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
the best.
Thank you.
Have a seat.
Thank you. Good evening.
Yes,
Good evening.
good evening. So, how was your day?
It was fine.
Okay, Ali. So, please tell me that why do you want to apply for this position?
A fun officer.
Yes, actually, there is a story which I want to share with you.
Sure.
And why I want to apply for this particular role? Because when I was in my college time, then I was a part of an organization which was the role of particular promoting the computer courses. So in the same time, you can promote these courses with your batchmate and as well as to your other friends who is in another colleges. So in that you can promote the courses. At the same time, you can make a network, because if you are going to promote the courses, you will get some amount which you can use as a pocket money. So for making your network, there is some tactics you have to apply. Otherwise, you cannot make the network. So sometimes you have to be engaged with them. So how you can engage with them? That is with the help of some fun activities, some motivational training and teaching which you can use with them. So sometimes, yes, exactly your training which you are going to give them, like for the purpose of getting computer courses knowledge. In the same time, sometimes you have to give them a fun with which they can easily engage with you, and then they can follow your what you can say, your some proposal which you are going to give them, like you want to promote these courses in this different reasons, in this areas. So how they will get to know like your vision is something good. So with this thing, if you want to get involved with them, then definitely you have to make some good relation, and that thing which can come can come with the help of doing this kind of activities. That is fun role which you said. So in that case, what I did, I just did some events in that era. Actually, there was one role that which was a event which was held there. So one event was there, like there was different uplines. Like if you are my downline, and I will be as your upline, and as well as there is many other uplines there. So we used to held a mimicry competition from our associates.
That
So,
was nice.
yes.
That was nice
So-
knowing from you, mimicry competition.
Yes. So mimicry competition was something like that, how the leaders of our team is promoting that particular courses, in which action he is promoting to the courses to the student.
Okay, Ali.
Yes.
We will have it in our organization also. We will make you do that against your manager, like for your manager.
Yes.
You will do
So-
a mimicry of your manager.
Oh,
Does that
fine.
help?
Yeah, sometimes it will help, because so you'll get to know what kind of things is good for you and what kind of things is not good for you. Then you can deal accordingly.
What about diversity, Ali? We have a very diverse workforce. So how do you think you can promote fun activities in a diverse workforce? Like not everyone will connect to the same kind of things. Not a very shy guy will connect to your mimicry competition.
Yes, another thing is that with the things which we can do, like if they are very shy and you are not involving with them with the mimicry and other things, so maybe everybody is born on some date actually. So there is birthday celebration. So on that particular day, what I will do, that there will be particular dress we will design from the team, and then we will try to give that dress to particular that person, and we will make something costume and all, so that we can what you can say, to give this as a gift for him for that particular day, and we will take a pic with him. So this kind of event which will be helpful to interact with the different people from different parts of the
and
India.
post it in Instagram and tag him. And tag
So
his
this
all
kind of
friends,
thing will be helpful
so that
to
they in turn make fun of him.
Yes, exactly. So this is the way of interacting with them, and this is another process which I can say as a solution.
So Ali, let me talk about a situation in one of the remote locations of India. Maybe you are posted.
Mhm.
People who are posted in that particular office are not very exposed to the media, maybe not very much exposed to the media.
Okay.
They are not very aware about all these.
Okay.
How do you think you can promote fun activities over there?
Yes, actually, what I think, like if I have been born and brought up from a very small village, so I think I have seen there is different kind of events like slow cycle race competition. So I think from our employees we can help this particular kind of events there. So this is not something which is requiring very digital things or tools and technology to help this kind of event. So this event will be the first step for me, which I will took for initiative to engage with the people, which as you told me, as a situation based. And another event which you can say to interact with the people, what I will do, I will try to make the engagement with them with some festival seasons. Like, you know, there is a wherever I will be, India has a lot of festivals there, like in Hindu religion according. As you know, there is a Durga Puja has just passed right now, just before 10 days back. So this time of festival season also we can just give the chance to the employees to do their activities, whatever they want to do. They can do this kind of thing, and through which we can do the interaction with with one another. So this is the thing which I will try to implement in the organization when I will be there.
Okay, so as you just said that since India has a lot of
Diversity.
yeah, diversity plus it have many festivals.
Mm-hmm.
So this traditional day usually every corporate office follows, or any other office also follows. So what different you can think of an event which is different from you have ever heard before or done before? So what new you can think?
Diversity point of view, if you want to do the what you can say, actually maybe you are not aware with the language where you are working or where you have posted. So in that point of time we will do the some relationship based event, like you can say romance and bromance, this kind of thing which we want to held there, and we have to propose someone in that particular language where you are posted. So this will be a fun event as well as, so you are going to get to know about them on their own culture where you are posted. So maybe you will be aware like how you have to propose someone in which language. Like if in India you are in Bengal, you are going to say someone like I don't know exactly bhalu che something, bhalu lakche so something, this is there. So in other places like in your Karnataka, so there is another statement is there used for expressing your love. So these kind of things which will work for me, and I will try to implement these kind of event there.
Actually,
like,
that was a very unique idea. Thanks for putting it forward. That will be very indigenous actually, indigenous to a certain place. The indigenous language you have to take up and propose.
Then you will get to know the cultures of them, and you can deal accordingly with the people, and you can make the more interaction with.
How do you pursue your career as a fun officer? Don't you think it's weird? Like not very known. Very new to the organizations nowadays.
Actually, as I told, can you repeat the question? If
Sure.
Yeah.
How do you pursue your career as a fun officer? It's not very much prevalent till now. It's a new thing that is starting.
Yes.
And also I think since it's not very prevalent, so you might not get this opportunity in every office. So it's like you're limited to certain offices and companies. So how will you deal with that?
What I think, if there is certain opportunity, this is a plus point for me. Because why I am saying this, if you are good at somewhere and you are going to see that there is a very less person, or you can say there is not a very huge competition, and you are good at that skill, so you can utilize that opportunity. So maybe this is a plus point for me, because earlier I have also done this kind of event. As I told you, I was part of an organization, I deal with the people, and that's why I made a network of more than 500 people. So this is the thing which motivates me. I can work with the people, and in future I can lead with this kind of role and responsibility, and then that motivation gives me to work in this field. And today, yes, according to your question, like this is not not much popular nowadays, but what I believe, it is going to be very popular, because nowadays many people who is working in the job right now, they are very, not you can say very frustrated, but still they are not getting motivation toward the job, because some point of time people who is working for the remuneration only, they are also getting stuck at some point of time. Some people who is working for the only reward and recognition, but after certain point of time they are also very getting stuck in the situation. So for them something should be there which can be relaxation for them. So maybe this is the very important role in future. This is going to be implemented in every field of job sectors. So this is going to be one of the unique sector, and I would love to work in this particular field.
Okay, Ali. Another question, maybe one last question for you. Say you are posted in a training and development cell of our organization. People are being trained there, freshers are being trained there, and they are put into quite a huge amount of pressure. So we really need someone to look after the fun activities and see that they have a good environment over there. So can you contribute to them?
Yeah, sure. It is actually very good things, and I am sure about it. Even I have been also passed through this kind of situation. So what I can do, once the training session will be over of that particular kind of freshers who is entering in the organization, once the training session is going to completed, the different kind of things which we can do. The first thing which I told you, the mimicry of trainer also can be a part of that particular place. We can give them chance to just release the frustration which they felt down when they were in the training session.
Releasing the frustration on the manager?
No, not manager actually.
Trainer.
Just on the expression basis, how they were getting challenge assignment when they were given a task by the trainer who were giving them.
On the trainer.
Actually, in the
So
term of
don't
only.
you think that people will be in fear that if we do
this will be a fun part of things. So this will be like not going to be something beyond the limit, because this will be restricted things, and limits will be there to inform them like this is the rules and regulations which you have to follow before going beyond the limit. So
and
this is the
what
thing.
if people don't take it in a sporty way? What if managers
So
take it
we'll-
personally?
Okay, so according to my suggestion, like in that situation, if I will be there, I will take the feedback from my couple of seniors who is more better than me in HR field. Then I will take suggestion from there. Then I will go for the poll and what you can say the suggestion from them. If that will be a better idea, I will try to implement it forwards for the session. And if it will be not giving me best result and I'm not getting the best output from them, then I will deal accordingly. That I will try to put another events like which we can say. The birthday celebration also I told you, but in the same way we can do some different event like outing. Outing also a small outing with the freshers who is just coming out of training session. With them, the senior who is going to hire them as a project person, and then the senior person will take them for the small outing for the trip purpose, and they will get together with one another, and then they can start their corporate work life from there onwards. So
but
this are what
only people with family, like they will try to spend less number of time in office actually. So we have employees who are recently starting their otherhood, so they are having a very hectic schedule to manage work and home at a time. So how do you think that people who are in this zone, so if it is 2 hours of fun activities you have been assigned, so they will just go to their home and stay with their family, how you will ensure that the participation will be there? How will you ensure that participation?
Actually, as I believe that there is every weekend which is as a holiday for the every corporate sector, but on the Saturday event, if you are going to put on this particular day, then people will get to involve with this kind of event, because they even try to go from their own pocket money. If you are going to give them a chance to come in the trip and you are not going to give them as a charge, like you have to put the money, then you are going to be the part of this particular event, then definitely they will take initiative, because if you are they are going to go for the particular movie or something for the fooding or maybe some dinner with the particular friends, then already they are going to invest something, then maybe that will be going to spend off more than 1,000 rupees, then they will be try to save that particular money. So definitely I think they are going to come.
Money
is
is not
not
an issue.
more important than the newborn baby, right? Money is not
Just
more
we need
important.
to get them included in the fun activities, that's
Yes.
all.
Okay. So can you repeat the question if you are not
Just
exactly
keeping it
clear
very
what you-
short.
Yeah.
people maybe in certain strata of the society, not certain strata, in every strata of the society, you'll have people who are just into their new motherhood, or people
Might be
who are
newly
not
married.
newly married, not well. How do you promote fun activities to them?
For them,
For
Yes.
them,
for the newly, you can say the mother. I have not experienced.
maybe not well also. You can
Actually,
say
for
about
them,
that.
I have not experienced as of now. But the what different kind of things which we can do there. Maybe the some steps which they can took toward the taking care of their child, and also what kind of the problems which a child gives to the lady when she is going to take care of their child. So these kind of things, I think, give them as a suggestion and as well as a chance to come with your child and with your employees, with your friend circle, so that you can take initiative toward these things. So I think I have not experienced as of now, but still I will try to take initiative with the suggestion of my seniors who will be there.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Arun.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you
It
so
was
much.
nice talking.
Thank you.
Yeah, it
It
was
was
the
nice
best.
talking to you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So, in conclusion, I would like to express my thankfulness and my gratefulness and God bless to all the students of the first year in the MHRM program at the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences at the IIT Kharagpur. And of course, thanks to all of you as well. God bless you.